Hey, tired of these niggas acting like I ain't doing shit. Working so hard for my family, but they clueless. Put myself through all this pain, sacrifice and bruises. Sacrifice. You've probably heard of the term sacrifice before, and especially if you're watching this video, you are sacrificing your time to learn something. And if you haven't heard of the term sacrifice before, I think you should sacrifice yourself, because I actually don't know where you've been. But what exactly is sacrifice? Okay, there's a few different meanings behind sacrifice, and a few of those may be religious sacrifice, animal sacrifice, and personal sacrifice. We're not going to touch on those other two today. The one that I'm going to be unpacking in this video is the idea of personal sacrifice. You're going to learn what sacrifice looks like, why we hesitate to make certain sacrifices and necessary sacrifices, and how to exactly stop hesitating to make those sacrifices. I ended up asking a whole bunch of people I know, friends and family, what sacrifice means to them. And the basic conclusion that I came up with, and the most things that everybody said that you can see on screen right now, is that what sacrifice is, in short, is giving up what you love, want, and sometimes need right now for the better of someone you love or your future self. What does sacrifice look like? All right, so I want you to imagine you and your homie, you both have a goal of starting an online business, getting into the best shapes of your life, and starting to inspire the world to get into action, and then also getting a cherry on top, getting a wife who adds value to you guys as men. You guys both start this journey at 19, and your friend, he, every single day, he stays in, he reads 30 minutes a day, he creates content once a week, he goes to the gym 5 times a week, he invests into courses, he eats cleaner than soap, and the content he watches, it educates him on females and what females like and what females don't like. But you, on the other hand, you stay in every single night, but you only read for 5 minutes a day. You create content once a month, you work out twice a week, and you don't invest into courses because YouTube is free. And you watch content on YouTube like Fresh and Fit, where they just criticize women and make women feel like they are the only reason why there's a problem in the dating market, right? You blame women for why they don't like men instead of taking responsibility. Which one is more likely to get what he desires, you or your friend? Obviously, yes, I'm not going to downplay the fact that you guys both made sacrifices, but your friend made sacrifices that were greater, so of course he's going to get what he desires. The problem here is that you had the ability to do the exact same thing. You had the same goals and you had the same vision, but your friend, on the other hand, he listened to that voice that compelled him to do more, and you didn't. Why is that? There's 3 main reasons here, and the first reason is comfort, and the second reason is lack of encouragement, and the third reason is you not necessarily knowing the payoffs that your sacrifices can have and doubting that they'll pay off in general. But we'll get into these all later. I've had trouble with making sacrifices my whole life, man, and I'm more or less necessary sacrifices, because we all make sacrifices, small or big, on a daily basis, but they just don't have an effect on us. But I've had problems with sacrifices my whole life, and honestly, it all started back in 2019 when I decided to just get the fuck out of the body that I hated. Because I was a fat fuck, bro. I was done, man. I was done, bro. I decided to put all the junk food behind me, all the Netflix behind me, all the wasting time behind me, and I decided to just get to work. This was one of the first major sacrifices I made in my life, which led to one of the biggest mistakes in my life as well, because I ended up cutting super crazy. I lost about 50 pounds of muscle, and I was at the skinniest point of my life. Keep in mind, I was 180 pounds, 5'6", chubby, 180 pounds. I dropped down to 125. I was going hard, man. I'm telling you, I was going fucking crazy. I also spent the last 3 years of my life orientating myself towards goals that I feel are worthwhile and beneficial to me in the long run. And all of that was followed by hours of work and sleepless nights where I'd only get 2 to 3 hours of sleep. But one thing I keep in mind for sure is that, although those big benefits, those sacrifices haven't technically paid off in a sense, in the highlight reel of things, I haven't become a high value man or top tier, my bank account's not fucking booming. Although those things haven't necessarily paid off, I always just think okay, no, you came out of those sacrifices, and all those sacrifices are built up. I did what I had to do, and after I come out of the times where I was grinding and doing what I had to do and put off my desires and built myself as a man, I just always came out a better person. And I'm proud of that. And you should be proud of that too, bro. This touches back onto the concept I was touching on in my previous video about the cycle of temptation and being in war with your future self. You have to understand that you're constantly learning what it takes to become the best version of yourself, and you're battling your future self, and he's going to destroy you every single day. But one thing you have to keep in mind is that there's steps to becoming that person. And sometimes you just have to zoom out of your life and analyze that you've taken 5 steps already. You've taken 10 steps. So be proud of that, bro. Be proud of that. You're always going to be coming out a better version. You're not the same version you were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5. You're always changing, so be proud of that change. And as of right now, I am preparing to make the highest degree of sacrifices imaginable for me, which are moving the fuck out of my mom's basement, getting a sales job at a corporate office, waking up at 4:30 to 5 a.m. 7 days a week, which I've already started doing, lifting weights 3 days a week, and boxing 3 days a week, which I've already started doing, and eating cleaner than soap, which I've already started doing, and just focusing on nothing but self-development, fitness, money, independence, family, and a strong circle for the next 3 years of my life. And we'll see where I'm gonna end up, bro. Like, I'm just playing around. We'll just try it out for 3 years. Let's see what happens. And like, yeah, of course, bitches aren't in the fucking circumstance. If one passes by, maybe I'll consider it.
You serious?
But even then, like, no, bro. I'm just gonna become hyper focused, and then I'm making the highest degree of sacrifices imaginable for you, and you should do the exact same thing. And you have that ideal in your mind, those sacrifices that you should make. I really highly encourage you to do them. I just really encourage you to just do it. And you may ask why, like, Gadak, why the fuck are you gonna do all those things? Why are you gonna make the most highest degree sacrifices? Isn't that gonna come with consequences? Blah 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 blah. But the reason I'm not gonna say, shut up. The main reason I'm making those sacrifices is because I'm a believer of God. I'm a believer of God, bro. Just think about this. If God laid out the highest degree of sacrifices for me, he laid it out already, and he gave me the ability to imagine myself doing those sacrifices. Not only that, he also gave me the tools. He gave me the tools to act out those sacrifices and do those things that are required for me to get what I desire in this world and in my future, to make sure that I'm living a worthwhile life. He gave me the ability to imagine it, and he gave me the tools to execute it. So why wouldn't I do it? Why wouldn't I do it, bro? That just seems like a motherfucking waste. It seems like a waste of time. It seems like a waste of mental energy. And ultimately, it just seems like a waste of my life. And I just think back to how fortunate I am to be given that gift. Whether you believe in God or not, you were given that gift. So why aren't you going to use it? Because some people, they have the ability to imagine themselves making the ultimate sacrifices, but they don't have the tools, and vice versa. And the vice versa is okay, but it's sometimes worse. Those people are just described as daddy's money people, or rich kids. They're given all the tools, but they don't have the ability to imagine themselves executing what's actually required to get the results that they need, right? To get the results that they want. But then there's kids in Africa that can imagine themselves going hard and crazy, but they don't have the tools to do it, right? I have both, and if you're watching this video right now, you probably have both, so why wouldn't you? Also, bro, if you're constantly imagining yourself acting out those sacrifices, but you're not actually doing it, then that just falls under the mental masturbation fallacy, and that's something that we just want to avoid, because it's, again, a waste of time. Another way of looking at sacrifice is that, bro, it's just a preparation for a loss of what's common, right? It's like, say, for example, you went through a long day and you didn't have any food. Say you're coming home from work, or you're at home and you're about to put food in the microwave. You can imagine two stories here. You get your food, or you take it out the microwave, and it drops. All of it drops on the floor. It's dirty. You can't fucking eat it anymore. You were hungry, bro. You didn't eat for the whole day. You come home, or you just go from the store, you trip over a rock, and all your food falls on the ground, right? If you've already dieted and sacrificed before, then you have no reason to be mad. You have no reason to be mad because you've already sacrificed for the loss of food. You already know what it feels like to be starving and push throughout the day and go to bed with an empty stomach. So you shouldn't be mad. That's all sacrifice is. It's just preparation for what's lost, preparation for things that will be lost, or a loss of what's common. For example, if you spend time working on your business for like 8 hours after work and you go to bed at midnight, sometimes if you're actually delayed, or there's something wrong with time, or say you're late for a flight, or you go to a barbecue and you come back home and it's like 12 o'clock and you have work in the morning, you can run off that because you've already sacrificed sleep before. So even if the circumstances are things that are out of your control, you can still move forward. So you're just preparing for disaster. You're preparing for chaos, because inevitably it's going to happen. And to add on top of all of that, it just goes in your favor, because, again, say before you dropped all of that food, like a week prior to that, you were like, yeah, I need to get my diet in order. I need to start focusing on my health, blah, 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 blah. But the sacrifices you were making when you were saying those things to yourself weren't in correlation to your goals. But now that you're given the ability to just push through that accident of you losing your food, now you can just start now. You want to start dieting and stop eating carbs, but the food dropped on the floor that you were gonna eat, and that sometimes you shouldn't have even ate. So now it's time to starve. Like, I look at things as a sign, bro. Sometimes I'm like, okay, if I go, say I go to 7-Eleven and I want to buy some pop or some soda, and say like I go there and I don't see the pop I want, I take that as a sign, and then I walk home. I tap my card and then somehow the tap doesn't work. I put down the pop and I walk home because it's just a sign that it wasn't supposed to go through. I don't search for alternatives. I don't tap the card twice. I accept the fact that God said no, or the universe said no, and it's not meant to be. It's just a sign. So I listen to that shit, bro, for real. But that's just to put it all simply, kind of simple. But to conclude that whole point, you need to understand that sacrifice is preparation, and only expect results that are relative to the sacrifices that you're making. Now I'm going to cover why we hesitate to make necessary sacrifices. As I mentioned before, there's 3 reasons for that. And the first reason is comfort. The second reason is lack of encouragement. And the third reason is doubting that the sacrifices will pay off or not knowing what the payoffs will be. So the first reason why you hesitate to make necessary sacrifices is comfort, bro. And honestly, bro, you might just not want to move from the position that you're in right now. You know, things may be going your way, things may feel good, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you just have to accept the fact, or you just need to understand how little you'll move in your life if you're just going to continue to seclude yourself in your comforts. And if you're going to continue to seclude yourself in your comforts and accept them and not want to move on, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. But you just need to stop wishing for more. Stop wishing for a better life. Stop thinking you're going to be rich. Stop thinking you're going to end up going to the gym and making those necessary sacrifices if you're so attached to those comforts. Stop thinking it. Stop wishing it. Stop wishing for more. You're just wasting your life. Accept the fact you're going to stay in the same spot and nothing's going to fucking change, right? But like I said, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be comfortable unless you're constantly asking for more, unless you want to change. There's nothing wrong with wanting comfort unless you are saying that you don't like your life. Like, man, I need to lose weight. I need to go in the gym. But nope, new Netflix season. Let's binge that bitch. People will notice this, and people are not going to respond to you. One way you can kind of figure this out is that if you express what you want, if you express the goals and the things that you want in life, and people are silent when you express those things, that's a sign that there's a disconnect in your actions and your beliefs. A solution to that, or I guess a mindset that you can apply, is to understand that choosing your comforts is making what you want a sacrifice. You just need to develop a black and white mindset around sacrifice. And obviously we're touching on personal sacrifice here. Yes, there may be different certain types, but you need to understand that if you choose one thing over the other, the sacrifice is the one that you don't choose. So you just need to make sure that you choose wisely. The second reason why you hesitate to make necessary sacrifices is a lack of encouragement. You may have the idea to go out and do great things and make big sacrifices in your life, but you're hesitating to make those sacrifices because you know what it's going to be met with once you voice it with your family, your friends, or whatever association that you have. Again, this is just another societal obstacle that we need to learn how to combat. Because for some reason, people don't necessarily like to encourage people to go out and make the necessary sacrifices. People don't like to encourage other people to put off their desires and do what they think is great. I don't necessarily know why. This could be the lobster in the bucket fallacy. I don't really know what it is, but just that lack of encouragement. Like, they haven't even reached to the point where you can pull them down, but yet you're not even encouraging them to put off those things that are regressing their life. I don't see why there's no encouragement to go do great things in young people anymore, right? Even if you just go back in history and you see like immigrants when they came over here to the West, they became entrepreneurs and they built big businesses because they were encouraged by the people back home to go do great things in the country that they moved from, right? But if you see people in the Western society say they just want to move states or they want to move provinces, the people within their atmosphere don't necessarily encourage that. They say, oh man, you don't need to sacrifice so much. Just remember balance. Like, oh, you sure you want to do that? That seems like a lot. Are you sure? 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 Are you fucking sure? Like, I don't know why people just spend way too much time trying to like project the way that they see them living their life. I've touched on this before, right? Like, you have a little brother, you see him living a certain life in your head. So anything that he says that goes against that path that you have in your head, you try to stop him from going on. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. But in conclusion, you just tend to hesitate to make those sacrifices because you want to avoid that societal clash and conflict. And like I said before, we're humans and we tend to avoid negative emotion, and clashing and conflict is all negative emotion. So you want to avoid that naturally. But face it, bitch. Face it. The solution to that is, like, bro, listen to me, man. If no one is encouraging you to go face the world and make the necessary sacrifices that are pounding in your head, the ones that your head is telling you to do, yeah, my permission. Take my encouragement, bro. Like I give you full permission to just lock yourself away for years and get the fuck to work. I give you the permission to ghost everybody, focus on yourself, and learn who the fuck you are inside and out, bones and flesh, neurochemicals and all. Learn who you are fully as a person. I give you permission to do that. I give you permission to save every single penny. I give you permission to kill yourself in the gym. Don't tie no nooses. Kill yourself in the gym with the weights. You see what I'm saying? I give you the permission to work every single day until you drop on a day-to-day, month-to-month basis, whatever the fuck it may be. I give you all permission. And on top of that, you have God's permission. Secondly, you owe it to your future self, because why would you sacrifice who you want to become to be accepted by others? And sometimes those other people could be your family. But again, you want to sacrifice becoming the best version of yourself to be accepted within your family? Are you sure you want to trade that up? Are you sure you want to be on your deathbed and know that you could have done more, but you decided to compel to your family norms? You sure? You sure about that? Just think about that, bro. The third and final reason why you hesitate to make necessary sacrifices is because you don't necessarily know what the payoff will be, and you doubt those sacrifices paying off in general. This is honestly just way more personal, and I can never really, help you through this through a blog or through a YouTube video or through text message. So honestly, you should just book a one-on-one call with me, because, bro, a conversation never helps. Link is in the description to book a free call with me. My Calendly link. I'm not trying to take your money, bro. A conversation just always helps for you to grasp your future and the path that you need to take to improve yourself as a man. Furthermore, if you can't imagine yourself making certain sacrifices, then they aren't for you, point blank, or they're not for you yet. All right, hear me out on this, okay? Like you can't always live your life trying to make sacrifices, make the same sacrifices other people made, because you're just going to be in a constant loop of comparison, and then by the end of it, you wouldn't even have done anything, bro. Like, for example, me, like, I guarantee you, every fucking other self-improvement video that you've watched, they're telling you to, yo, get the fuck up, wake up, grind set this, grind set that, blah, 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 blah. And you can try to do that, but listen, dude, if you can't imagine yourself waking up at 4:30 and getting to work every single day for the next 3 years, if you can't imagine yourself doing it to the full extent, if you can't conceptualize yourself doing it, then you shouldn't do it yet. You have to start small. And I'll give you a small example here. Like I mentioned before, I'm waking up at 4:30 every single day, and I'm going to the gym, I'm working on my business, I'm doing what I need to do. That took me weeks to get there, bro. Because when I first started doing that, bro, I was just sleeping through the alarm for some reason. And what it took time for me to just be able to wake up earlier and earlier. But I had to come to the conclusion that I was just a useless human being before that. I was too useless to wake up at 4:30. I wasn't conditioned for that. And you may not be conditioned to go full force in the gym, work on a business, and grind to your full ability yet. It's yet, but you have to slowly work to that person, right? And then you're going to soon start to conceptualize those aggressive habits and those aggressive routines, and then it's going to be a part of your identity, all right? But that's exactly why you doubt yourself, because those sacrifices aren't yours, right? And how the fuck are you supposed to take somebody else's ideal and like use it as your source of belief? Because your source of belief is supposed to be conceptualized by you. And if your source of belief is taken from somebody else's voice, like say I'm saying bullshit to you, if you take that and you use my voice and my routines and my habits as a source of belief for yourself, then you're never going to actually do it consistently, because it's not you. So you have to build that voice inside to have the ability to just wake up, do what it's supposed to do every single day. Your beliefs have to be conceptualized by you, not anybody else. And the solution to doubting that your sacrifices will pay off and knowing what the outcome will be of those sacrifices are is just to fully analyze those plans and fully analyze those sacrifices. Then you're going to know exactly how they'll play out, and then you'll see the potential of those sacrifices. Then you're going to see if it's worth it. I'm not saying spend so much time questioning your plan and seeing if what you're going to do is even going to pay off, because then you're going to be stuck, and that comes with a whole other set of problems that we won't necessarily get into today. But take time and analyze those sacrifices. See what other people have done before. I'm not saying follow them. See if they made necessary sacrifices and see those results. And once you see those results, then you're going to see if it's even worth it to continue on that path. And sooner or later, the progress will come, boy. But yeah, you have to see if that plan will potentially play out. And the only reason I say potentially is because there's a small chance that you and I may make all the necessary sacrifices, do all the fucking hard work that's necessary, but we won't get what we desire. But that's what we're gambling with, bro. And are you willing to gamble with that? I sure as hell am, bro. The fuck? But again, the fact that you're watching this video shows that you're willing to take that chance. So respect to you. But to conclude that, the only reason why one doubts themselves is because they lack the ability to see the end of the endeavor, which is easily fixed with just a simple analysis. So just don't let that be you. The next thing I want to cover is how to eliminate that hesitancy and what to expect while you're in the process of eliminating it. The first thing you need to do is listen to that voice that calls you to do more. You know that little voice in your head that tells you to not do something? Say you're about to do something bad, like steal from a store or whatever. You have that little voice that says, hey man, don't do it, blah, 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 blah. That's a voice we all override. But there's also a voice, a little tiny voice, that tells you to get moving. And I know you've heard it before. We all have. You know, it could be screaming at you. It could be screaming at you to get your health in order. Stop talking to these bitches. Stop spending so much money. Stop wasting so much time, or just to cut off all those toxic friends that you may have. Whichever it may be, it's calling you to operate at a higher capacity, which I have a video about linked right here. And if you continue to ignore that voice, or if you continue to allow other people to stop you from listening to that voice, then you're just going to be left with loads of contempt and hatred towards yourself. That's how you simply eliminate it, bro. You need to listen to that voice. Now, here's what you need to expect when you start to go through the process of eliminating that hesitancy. When you start really acting on those voices, you start listening to those voices that tell you to go make those sacrifices. Here's what you need to expect. People around you are going to try to make you deviate from that path. You've probably experienced this before, because I sure as hell have, bro. And it's tough and it's fucking annoying, right? But for example, say you express to your friends or family members that you want to start going to the gym or you want to start a business. They're going to start to challenge you with supportive alternatives. And that's what I call them. That's what these people do. They give you supportive alternatives. What those supportive alternatives may look like is, oh, are you sure that business is going to work? Oh, you don't need to work out so much. You're not even fat. You're not even skinny. You don't need to go to the gym. Maybe try this business idea. Will that business idea work? I heard this on the internet. I heard this on the internet. This is all supportive alternatives. Some of these comments may be good to absorb and think about. However, most of the time, these people are just trying to tell you how to live your life based on what they see you doing. Again, it's another form of projection. I don't even know how to articulate that social fucking process. I don't know what it's called. It's okay. It is okay. It's kind of not okay. It's kind of annoying. But again, it's just another obstacle that we need to face, right? There's just too many obstacles with becoming the best version of yourself. It's fucking ridiculous. Firstly, you need to understand that people are going to do this subconsciously. And they're the supportive alternatives. It's a subconscious thing that they do. And honestly, it's just out of their efforts to help you. So appreciate their concern. And it's also good to avoid building resentment for those people that are going to rise those supportive alternatives or challenge your beliefs in a way that seems like it's them giving advice. There's a famous quote here by Marcus Aurelius that outlines this perfectly, and it goes like this: if what they do is right, no cause for complaint. If wrong, this is clearly out of ignorance and not their wish. It's a fucking beautiful quote. I couldn't have said it any better. Nobody else fucking could, I swear to God. The number one thing we can pull from that is that's facts, bro. People only do what they think is right to do. And so it's out of no use to get angry at them for just not knowing something. Like, are you going to get mad at a baby for spilling food? Or are you going to get mad at a baby for pronunciating a word incorrectly? No. So just save yourself the stress and accept the fact that the majority of people don't analyze their actions, and the majority of people just never criticize their own opinions. And you also used to do the same thing. You also used to be the person that hinders people. You used to be the person that projects. You used to be the person that wastes time. So you have no right to criticize them and abandon them. You have no right to do that. So in conclusion, it's your job to empathize with that, and it's your job to also educate if you can in the most respectable manner. And I know it seems like, bro, but come on, man, they're the ones doing this. Why do I have to blah blah blah? Because you're becoming the best version of yourself, and part of that is taking a load on your back and taking responsibility. And obviously, communication and navigating through the social world is a two-way street. So you have to do your part in learning how to take that load and accept their ignorance, right? Because you just kind of have to treat them like. You have to treat them like a paralytic, bro, because they're deprived of knowledge. They're deprived of the truth. They don't know what's right. They don't know what's wrong. It's not their fault. You have to pity them. You have to treat them the same way you would treat somebody who was in a wheelchair. Just, oh man, he doesn't know any better, man. It's okay. Right, like today I was at the mall and there's just motherfuckers, bro, just walking so slow, no consideration for people that are behind them. They just stop in the middle of the goddamn halls. I'm like, then I have to stop. I'm like, oh man, they don't know any better, right? They are not aware that there's other people in the world. They're self-centered and they're deprived of the fact that they're not the only people in the motherfucking mall. So I just have to move forward and go on with peace. Right? Another example of this, which could be controversial, but I don't really give a shit, is slavery. Like, yes, it was bad, and slavery is still bad to this day, but if you think about it, if we use this logic and use this framework, what they thought was normal, right? They just looked at black people as pieces of property. They looked at them as a tool of productive use, and it didn't seem immoral to them because that's all they knew. Because during the times of slavery, I don't know if there was people up in the north, like up in Canada area, that weren't, they were pissed at the people down in America in the south. They're like, what the fuck are these people doing? But the people down in the south, that's just all they knew, and that's how they were brought up, right? So the people that are deprived of this knowledge and deprived of this truth, you have to empathize with them, and you also have to understand that you're privileged. You know the truth. You know that it's wrong to do certain things because you were brought up to do so, to know that they weren't brought up. So you're the privileged one and they're deprived. So, but to conclude this whole video, bro, is to make the highest degree of sacrifices imaginable for you. Because if you don't, you're going to regret it. And you're going to hate yourself for a very, 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 very long time. And that hatred is actually going to go out to other people. Listen to the voice that calls you to do more for the exact same reasons. Don't sacrifice what you want most for what you want now. Your friends, your family, your association, and society overall is going to get in your way and try to pull you away from the path of becoming who you want to become, sometimes in a friendly manner and sometimes not so friendly. But you have to accept that. Follow your own voice, not the voice of others. And last but not least, don't be afraid of the societal clashes that are going to happen, because that's what's going to cause the growth in you, bro, and that's all that matters. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video, bro, and you just have to get over the hesitancy to make those necessary sacrifices, because I know right now you can see yourself in your head. You can see yourself doing more. I'm not pushing for like toxic productivity or do more. But I'm telling you, you can do more, right? You see yourself doing more and being the most, like, being as aggressive as possible towards your goals and to your visions and who you want to become. You see that. You can see yourself acting it to whatever degree it may be. It could be big, it could be small, it could be just cleaning your room, Jordan Peterson style, you know what I'm saying? But you just need to start to the smallest degree of that. Start to the smallest degree and then slowly build up. And then soon you're going to literally, your whole routine and your whole life is going to be the previous imagined sacrifices that you had. And then you're going to have more and more on top of that. And then next you're a high value man, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, just small steps, and stop hesitating. Because there's no time for that shit, bro. So, love you. Start off tomorrow strong, G. Peace.